Good morning. Of course, those of you who know and seen my videos, you know my name's Travis Cordero. One of the things that I'm going to be talking about today is anatomical zero, biological zero, and 0 point. Finding out what the body center is through a feeling of levels in the body, like what we would actually do to level our body in a way that we could energize in a plane that would create efficiency. Da Vinci said that in a plane your body has most efficiency when it's open, like a hose or a tube that would no longer be pinched but stretched and open. Many believe that this is a symbol for compassion, which opens the heart and opens your arms to others and allows you to see your ability to hold the rib cage open. The fifth rib, or the floating rib that we have in our body, tends to be collapsed in most humans, where we would come forward, collapsing the floating rib, putting pressure on our mid-thoracic region, tightening the latissimus muscles, rounding one trapezius, tightening our muscles along our forearms through different postures. But when we have the pressure off the floating rib, what we start to understand is that the body actually supports itself through a balance, as though there's a plumb bob that comes straight through the middle of the body. And the more we become in a cross-body correlation, where I can stretch one side, bring the other up, open my body by stretching it, pulling to the back line, becoming parallel with the wall behind me, and then leaning back into it, feeling the energy along the heel, to the butt, to the back of the head, out to the fingers. The longer I can hold myself in this position, whether I'm learning to salsa, whether I'm learning to box step, waltz, whether I'm learning to martial arts and box, whether I'm teaching dance and I use my toes and I bring my body into a position, I'm still supporting the rib cage using good posture, allowing for oxygen to flow. A smoker who sits here and breathes just through his chest tends to close the chest down, closing the bronchial areas, not allowing for the chest to expand, affecting and creating things like bronchitis or chronic bronchitis through the mid-thoracic region in the back. And then the difference between somebody who doesn't inhale, the smoker who smokes cigarettes and keeps a real short breath, and then somebody who does inhale, who learns to use their stomach muscles, is tremendously different. Most people don't know how to breathe through their stomach because they spend their whole life crouched over with pressure down on their rib cage, tight muscles in the neck, imbalances through the body. So when I'm sitting here and I'm keeping my body in what would be considered an anatomical plane or an anatomical position, you can see that my body opens. This is not, however, the neutral position. Your neutral would be with your hands so that they're facing each other, hanging down equally to your side. A couple of energy tests tell you how your body is centered. One might be just raising your arms and letting them drop. Raising your arms and letting them drop. If they drop evenly, then the muscles tend to be more relaxed. If they drop tight, then you keep doing it until they relax. Learning how to relax your arms by throwing them down, wringing them out, shaking your body. A good bodybuilder on stage shakes their body to let everybody know they relax it, and then squeezes their body so that everybody sees as they're tight. Making the muscles stronger, tighter, bigger, as big as they can look and as small as they can look, so that the body is in an illusion on the stage. Presence, confidence is about how you feel naked. So if you're not comfortable with me standing like this and you're not comfortable with you standing naked, then we have to look at the way that we see our bodies, because there's really only 7% difference between you and me, that supermodel, anyone out there. There's very small differences. Include water level, levels of adipose tissue, certain DNA traits, colors in your body. Those are things that are very minimal on the scale of what really is happening with your body. Having confidence in yourself, a high ego, is not the same as having pride in yourself and being centered. Sexual energy, where you're walking around, you keep that energy nice and low, is not the same as being balanced and feeling stable in your roots. Somebody who, tilts their body while they sleep and crouches up would have to undo fascia on this side of the body, allowing the body to start to open back up this way. I don't want you to think personal trainers heal the body all the time. What I want you to understand is that personal trainers are now working with massage therapists, they're working with acupuncturists, reflexologists, somatic therapists, people who are starting to teach us that in 5 seconds time I can figure out which muscles in the body need lengthening and which muscles don't, which muscles need release, so that they can start to develop a neuromuscular facilitational pattern that wasn't there before. When I squeeze a muscle, depending on how full I squeeze it through my breath, is based on my ability to let it go, is based on which muscle tendons are holding myself captive. If I want my muscles to relax in my legs, if I want to do the shaky shake and then squeeze, I feel which muscles aren't relaxing when I shake, and then I squeeze them everywhere full with my blood flow. The best way that I can describe finding your presence in your center is by taking your toes, scrunching them, making them really tight, finding that center by wiggling your toes and starting to lean back through your heels. Then learning to squeeze the calf muscles, letting them go, allowing them to relax, finding the center between 4 points in the bottom of the feet, energizing the knees inwards or outwards, but then find the middle. Your hip, your acetabulum. Finding the middle means taking your acetabulum and not dumping it forward, not dumping it backwards, not giving the body an ability to make a choice, but finding it in the middle so that the hamstrings can lengthen, your quadriceps, your psoas, your inguinal glands can get pressure off of the body. The glands in the body, in our armpits, our inguinal areas, and the inside the hips, and where we run into all kinds of insertion areas in the body, are developing and working with our body to rid itself of toxins. They're lymphatic systems based on circulation, and if we're not circulating the body through these lymphatic systems, say I bring my arm up and I can't really get into that area, I can't rub it, I can't feel my scapula separate anymore. Say it's a frozen scapula or a frozen shoulder because it doesn't move independently of my rotator cuff, which has the ability to rotate inside. One of the things that we do to teach frozen scapulas and frozen shoulders how to move again is simply taking a tennis ball, putting it up against a wall, and learning how to articulate the rotator cuff, and then learning how to move and lift the scapula, and then learning how to retract the trapezius, stretching the chest, learning how to come back to neutral. For many people, learning how to stretch the chest is one of the hardest things because they're not sure how to really get the body into a neutral position to open it wide enough. So we have to learn how to stabilize the hips first to be able to get to a stretch in the chest, to be able to get to the warrior positions, to be able to find the true strength that's in our body. You're never going to be able to feel it, you're never going to be able to see it if you don't pay attention to what's happening on the inside as far as balance. I can wiggle one big toe and I can start to feel circulation go down my leg. I can wiggle the other little toe and feel the opposite side, the way the body balances. Through neuromuscular facilitation, I put my hands together. I can push an energy to the center. I can pull an energy apart from the center. I can strengthen the energies by crossing them, by learning to move through them, by learning to push through them. As though imagining there's a thick liquid in the air, I have the ability to push and pull on both sides of the equation while I breathe. Remember, the breath is through distal energy. So when I get to my farthest point from the meridian, my breath should end. And then I should learn how to use my diaphragm to make sure that the chi, or the center, which takes so much energy to hold, is moving through the motion. Now, for most guys to move in a circle where their body moves 360 degrees without moving the shoulders is pretty tough. You have to really think about it. When I took dancing lessons, that was one of the first things I learned was that my hips were frozen. I was in a cock pelvis. I had been walking through, elevated shoes all my life. I never really learned to, manipulate my hips. Pilates taught me a lot of this, yoga, but really learning how to find what was a contraction in the stomach and then find what was a neutral took a while for me. And that was kind of one of the things that led me to Joseph Pilates and where he studied fixing dancers. So dancers typically turn their toes out, their hips open. They learn to center their weight through the front part of their body, tilting the pelvis, keeping the body upright, elongating the flexion as much as they could in the lower back so that they were getting extension in the lower abdominals, but typically their hips would rotate out, they wouldn't shift evenly backwards. So Joseph Pilates developed strengthening of the core and the Kegel muscles through breath so that we became the center. And he taught his training to dancers specifically because he knew that once they found their center, they would be able to feel the difference, they would be able to find their pelvis again. And, after having children, gaining weight, losing weight, they needed to figure out neutral for themselves. And by using very little to low weight, even their own body or gravity, you start to learn the articulation of each individual vertebrae through the body and how they're all supposed to move like the wooden snake that snaps and moves out and brings back in. Watsu and these different martial arts that are teaching us now how to move the body like water, teaching the body how to breathe like fire, teaching the body how to feel the wind, these are the things that are connecting us, and they're thousands of years old. I just want you to know that it's not some, scary thing to understand who you are underneath your body. What's scary is not to know how to fix it. And, there are a lot of people out there right now that are helping holistically, helping naturopathically, through breath, meditation, yoga. Just finding the way to heal your body is about feeling comfortable with who you are on the inside and then learning how to see, the truth on the outside. So I hope you learned something from this today. Enjoy the rest of your day.